So, guys, welcome back to another episode of the XL Tribesmen podcast. On this week's show, I have we're gonna call you the famed model and slash photographer. That's the
Call me
title.
the call me the polymath.
The pop, yeah. You know what, Mr. Polymath? Tell us, what does that mean? And
Yeah,
introduce yourself to the people, because I always wanted to know what it
yeah,
meant.
yeah. Well, I'll introduce myself first. I'm Eric Wallace. I'm from North Carolina. I have been a model for 8 years. I've been a photographer for about a year and a half, pro photographer, and I've been a three-time professional athlete in three different sports, from basketball to Australian rules football to American football, NFL. Um, but yeah, I Well, Polymath is an individual who specializes in many different areas. A Renaissance man. I don't really like using jack of all trades because it's so much more to that. We're all natural born polymaths, but I have taken it upon myself to reinvigorate that spirit in people, especially now with the fact that, yeah, you can have your 9 to 5 or not have a 9 to 5, especially with this COVID going on. um, you got side hustles or side passions that you're passionate about, and people are doing it every day. People are acting in movies, coming out with music, modeling, who would have never thought they could do it, but just had an interest in it. Um, but that's what Polymath is. The most famous one we know is Leonardo da Vinci. I've read multiple books on him. He's one of my favorite historical figures. But a lot of people don't realize the fact that he did see painting as his passion, but he also had many different areas that he just wanted to dive into. Um, and that was just his curiosity, his, you know, affinity for learning. Um, he wanted to be a war general. He wanted to be a mechanical engineer. He was. Um, he can be attributed to as the father of dentistry.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
he was paramount in city planning, designing. Um, he was man, entertainment. His mechanical engineer came into entertainment. He was when people would go see the plays. He was the one that made the mechanical stuff come out and move on their own. They had never seen that before. Um, but we all know him for Mona Lisa, The Last Supper, as a painter. But he was so much more than that. But I always tie it back to the fact that he was so curious in a million different trivial, dumb, crazy, pointless things about nature and about life, about people. When he sat down to paint Mona Lisa, it was easy because he'd seen it. He'd seen that. He'd seen this there. He'd seen that there. Oh yeah, I was studying the wings of dragonflies, and I wrote those notes down. And I was studying what the tongue of the woodpecker was doing when it wasn't out. It actually wraps around the brain. Um, I was studying the wings of birds. So he's just curious about a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and it led to him being one of the most prolific minds, you know, of human history. But yeah, that's what a polymath is. Me, polymathic athlete, three different sports, modeling, acting, been in movies, still acting, and photographer. Had a clothing line. This is mine. So I'm just one of the guys that why not do everything you can because we only got one chance to do it.
Yep. And you have so many talents. How do you narrow them all down to one thing, right?
Yeah. I will say it's sometimes a headache having so many different interests and so many different ideas. Um, but if I didn't try them, I wouldn't have came to my point in life where I've picked up a camera, and the camera has brought together so many ideas that I've had.
Yep, the camera brings all of the things you have.
So many ideas, yeah. At first, it was like, I've tried this, I've done that, I've tried that, I've done this. I still like doing all of those, but like, how can I tie it all together? And, the camera, me being behind the camera, learning how to use a camera, becoming a pro photographer inherently, and without me even knowing it, it just clicked one day. It was like, oh, this brings together everything, every idea I've had, floating around in there. It brings it all together, and now I have a direction.
Right.
Kind of like Da Vinci. Da Vinci was a painter, of course, but he had so many different other things he wanted to do. But painting was the way he could all bring it together and bring it to the people.
I like the way you put that. So now we all listen. First of all, I love when I get to interview people and I learn new shit. That's like my favorite thing to do.
I got a whole bunch of trivial stuff in this head, man.
I already know it. Because the fact that you have so much Da Vinci knowledge, I'm like, how does he know all this shit? It's what I'm thinking in my head. So there must be more. So first, let's dive into one of your polymathisms. I just made that word up.
That's a word.
It's a word?
That's a word, polymathism.
Smart, and I didn't even know it.
Well, so, you're a polymath, so you should know it.
I am. Now, when you said it, I'm like, I am.
Exactly.
I have tons of interests. I think like you, I found that creating a website, for big and tall men was how I can join my polymathisms together into one thing.
Yeah.
Because it's photography, it's fashion, it's style, it's mental health, it's food. I don't really work out, but other workouts, do the workout shit. But I
done got lazy since I retired, so.
Really?
Yeah, I'm about to be bigger and tall. Man, as soon as I hung them cleats up, man, I ain't really been to the gym like I used to. So, yeah.
Well, sir, you look like you still go once or twice a week.
Yeah, that's about it.
See, I know it. People that don't go to the gym look like me, just so we clear. People who go to the gym look like you. Just so clear. Okay? They look like this.
I'm trying to look like Rob.
Yo, he's getting cut up.
Hey, Rob, I know you're going to watch this. Hey, you still can't beat me in the race. I'm just saying.
Come on, healthy competition. Yo, Rob can race. Like, Rob can smoke.
But he said he could beat me. He didn't say the last 3 photo shoots.
Well, I guess
I think that's what he training for too.
See, so the next time y'all in Idaho, he gonna be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I wanted to talk about, you know what? Let's dive into your photography because I feel like that's something we have a little bit more in common. Because like, I'm not going to call myself a model. I'm going to call myself an influencer. Because to me, there's a difference, right? It's like you're the model that influences the clothes that I wear, and then I'm the influencer that wears the clothes that influence what the other people wear. So you're the model, I'm the influencer. That's what we're going to call that. So as a photographer, being on the other side of the camera, how do you bring your modeling with you on that side of the camera? Like, how do you, like, what's a shoot like for you? Or like, what's some of the creative ideas that you come to life with?
Well, we always say mimicry is the best form of flattery. And I've learned from, I'd say, some of the best photographers shooting with DXL.
Mm-hmm.
So I see how they handle their shoots, and they're the guys who got me into shooting. We would go to these locations and we'd shoot, and I'd see how much fun they were having. Just how much they didn't mind doing this every day. Being in the cool location like Arizona, Idaho, LA, that helps. But
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
yeah, that helps too. But
It helps a
you know,
lot.
I just saw how much they liked shooting, and then taking cues from how they were on set, how they spoke to the models. Um, that was imprinted on me. So I know how it is to be on in front of the camera. So now I'm on behind the camera. Now the only thing is I've got to control the shoot. And when I say control the shoot, most photographers are like, they'll you've had a horror story sometimes where like you've lost control of the shoot, or it's no longer your shoot anymore. Um,
Oh,
for me, it's
listen,
just like
we could talk about that for days.
we can talk about that, yeah. But for me, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get my shots, but I also feel like the person who knows that person best, if I'm not working for a client, of course, but the person who knows the person I'm shooting best is the person, you know? So
Mhm.
I just make it as laid back as possible. Like, no, we're just gonna, I get a lot of messages come in before we shoot. They're like, well, you're gonna have to pose me a lot because I'm goofy. It's like goofy's fine.
Be goofy.
Goofy's
I
fine.
get that too.
Yeah, I don't want you to be stone cold in the photo shoot. Just be goofy. That's what I shot
You
you.
know what I try to tell people? These are the photos you're gonna look at for the rest of your life. What do you want them to say?
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna steal that.
Because in the beginning
Yeah.
of shooting, I would shoot and like and I give people their photos and they'd be like, why didn't you tell me I looked like this? And I was like, I did, but then when I click again, you look like that again. I don't know why you did that. And so now what I learned is that I'm the expert
Mm-hmm.
and you're paying me for my expertise.
Yep.
Because in actuality, if you just wanted some photos, you and your homegirl, your homeboy could have went
Yeah,
out
you could have exactly.
and took your iPhone, or in your case, Android.
Mm-hmm.
But you took a little Android or whatever.
I'm always open to ideas. Like I have my shots that I want. I got my my checklist. But and then I always ask like, hey, you see anything? And they usually have like an idea. Once the shoot's going, they've already got some good photos. I've shown them some heat on the camera. They're like, oh wow, that's me.
Don't you love
And I'm
that
like,
face? Don't
yeah,
you
like
love when people
wow,
make that face?
wow.
Like they can't believe they're looking at themselves like this.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
So
whenever you do that,
yeah.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was like, then I'll just ask them like, hey, you got any ideas? Hey, I'll shoot it. But yeah, I got my, photographers, we got ideas for days. But sometimes within the shoot, the model client
We'll
will
start
have an
turning.
idea. They're like, oh, what if I shot, for over there? I might have missed it, you know?
Oh, I
Like,
didn't
oh
think
yeah,
about it.
let's do it. Like this isn't film. I'll shoot it.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Still, one thing I still want to learn how to shoot on 35
I do want to
millimeter.
learn. I do want to
Yep,
learn how to shoot film.
yep,
A
yep.
friend of mine, he shoot film.
There's nothing like it. The noise, the natural noise that's in a 35, so beautiful. I'll learn one day.
Yeah.
When I have lots of money to buy old Kodaks, I'll learn. But so what I want to talk about, right? So as a photographer, I'm pretty sure people. Well, it doesn't happen to me that often. I'm not sure if it happens to you, but it's something I definitely wanted to discuss. So, like,
Mhm.
if you were to give a tip, right, to someone who's watching this who wanted to become a photographer the first time, like, give me like 3 tips that you wish you knew when you got started. You said a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, what's 3 things you wish you would have
Three
known 3.5 years ago?
tips. Um. Hmm. One. Hmm. I'm gonna go 4.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
come on. I'm giving you 3 because I didn't want to overwhelm you, but if you
Nah,
got
man,
4, come on with
it
it.
was a couple things was well for me it's number one, just shoot. Seriously, just shoot. Um, go out with your camera, play with it, turn it on, hit the button. That's all I say. Just turn it on, hit the button. I get photographers asking me questions all the time, like, what do you think? What about, what about turn it on, hit the button, man? Because number two is there's no such thing as a bad photo. There's no such thing as a bad photo. Now, there
You talk
there's
about
a such
Wallace.
thing as technically unsound photos. If you're trying to get your photo to look like a Annie Leibovitz photo, there's certain things you got to do. If you want your photo to look Peter Lick, there's certain things you got to do. If you want your photo to look Ansel Adams, there's certain things you got to do. There's certain settings, there's certain lighting, or certain angles, or certain compositions. But if you're trying to get your photo to look John Williamson, a random dude who just picked up a camera, the only way you can figure that out is to shoot.
Oh, you just came up with that name. I thought that was like a photography grade.
It might be John Williamson. I don't know, but yeah.
Listen,
But yeah,
we're gonna add historian to your polymathism.
I mean, for me, when I started, I asked my 2 photographers, John Corbett for DXL and Quentin Dadoba for DXL as well.
That
They're
must
the
be
ones.
QD.
Was that?
That must be World.
QD World, yeah, that's Q.
Follow him.
He's awesome.
Can take a photo.
The only advice he gave me, f2.8.
You know what?
That's all he said. He was like, I'm not gonna give you pointers, just he literally was like, turn the thing on, hit the button. If there's light in the room, hit the button, point it at the thing, and shoot. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll give you a pointer, f2.8, shoot wide open. Other than that, like it's one of those things you have to learn. There are great photographers who are self-taught. One of my favorite, Manny Ortiz.
Baseball player?
No, Manny Ortiz. He's a photographer in Chicago.
I feel like I know that name.
Yeah, you might have seen a YouTube video of his. Mm-hmm. You might follow him on Instagram.
Yes. I've watched plenty of his videos.
Yeah, awesome dude. Self-taught. Most photographers self-taught.
Wedding photographer, right?
He doesn't do what he did at one wedding, but he's a portrait photographer. Sony shooter though. But Peter McKinnon, from my understanding, he's self-taught as well. And we know Peter McKinnon can take a photo. So it's like, the pointer is turn it on
and shoot.
Shoot. Number 2, there's no such thing as a bad photo. Now, when you start trying to emulate a photo of a colleague of yours, a mentor, a historical photographer, yeah, there's things you got to learn. There's lighting, there's angles, there's, certain settings, really, there's no such thing as a bad photo. I'm in CLT shooters community, and a lot of times they'll ask for constructive criticism. And I always.
What's CO2?
No, CLT shooters.
Charlotte
shooters. Yeah, I'm in a community. I'm in a community group of photographers. And a lot of times, they'll post their pic and say, "Hey, I'm up for, can I get some constructive criticism?" And photographers are willing to give. But after every single criticism or constructive feedback I'll give, I'll say, "It's still a good photo. Still a good photo. Can I see the face? Is it there? Did you hit the button? Fine." Because we've seen some artistic stuff that's like, that is a terrible photo, but how did it sell for $1 million?
I think about that with paintings all the time. I mean, I sometimes I feel like I'm not well versed in like painting because Like when I'll see a painting, they'll be like, "Yes, this is a Van Gogh."
Mm-hmm. Art is subjective. So is photography. Now, if you know, your first photo could be terrible, but then you take 10 million just like that. That's your style. And who knows? That could be the next thing. I don't know. Um,
Oh,
Another thing was I learned from another photographer mentor of mine. I mean, I call him mentor. He always gives me pointers. Don't be afraid to crop.
don't be afraid to crop. You mean crop later or crop during?
Crop later.
I'm,
I took
I'm,
a
I'm afraid
really
of crop.
I was doing some when I first started. I was doing some street photography. Took a really cool shot um, of a man walking in front of the library, like I said, colorful wall in front of the library in Winston Salem, and really cool shot. And I posted it, um, Facebook and everything. Then he was like, "Good shot." He sent me back the photo of where he cropped it. He was like, "How's that? Way better." And it got me to think about what story your photos want to tell. I mean, portraits, not every photo has to tell a story. It could be just, it's a headshot, it's a portrait, it's a pretty girl, good looking guy. Um, but
Every
I was
photo
like,
tells a
yeah, what?
story, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but for there is like, just some stuff just takes away from what you want people to see.
To see, I got you. So that's
Hmm.
why you're saying don't be afraid to crop.
Distraction. Yeah, don't be
You know
afraid to get rid
what?
of that light in the background.
You know what? That's a good tip. I'm gonna take that because I'm not a cropper. I'm not gonna. I don't. I don't.
Hmm.
I'm not a cropper.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not a cropper. Um,
If I would if I were to look at some of my early photos compared to, let's say, the last shoot I did. The last shoot I did was for Lavish Blanc, the menswear company.
the hat. Are they
Yeah,
hat?
the
They
hat.
do hats.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If I were to compare like my first shots to that shot, it's a drastic im- improvement. Of course, the more you shoot, the better you get.
The better you
But
get. Yep.
it's just the small things, like you know, focusing on what you want people to see, as opposed to we're a lot of times the photographers like we're in this cool environment. It took us 8 hours to get here. I want everyone to see it. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, well, a lot of times, every time, the audience doesn't know all of that unless
Yep.
you give them a story. But like a photo should stand on its own. Photo should
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, I see the photo. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a cool hat, as opposed to, Mint Museum could have overshadowed the hat, but the hat was
The
um,
focus.
the focus. And even the model, Christopher Brown, great model from around here, long, gorgeous hair. I was like, I need you to shoot this for me. He could have overpowered that hat. He could have. The hat could have become a distraction outside of him, but it was like, what are you trying to focus on? So um, that's my fourth. Um, what story are you telling?
Good tip.
What story are you telling? What are you trying to say? I mean, some photos, it's just, I was out Saturday and, it was a cool duck.
It's
It was a cool duck on the water. All right, whatever. But when you start to really get into it, like what story you telling? I watched the video, Ted Forbes, The Art of Photography. I love watching his videos. This is
okay.
when I was when I kind of getting started. The video started out saying, this, I don't think everyone's ready for this, but no one cares about your photography. Yeah, that face you made, I was like, okay, that's the video we're doing right now. Okay, what else he got to say? What he was saying was,
I'm about to click the
um,
X button.
right. What he was saying was profound. He was saying, no one really cares about the photo you took of the doorknob. You know,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um, now if you just want to take photos, just for fun, all right, cool. But don't expect me to care about it. What he was saying was, there's a million photographers, there's a million models, there's a million artists, there's a million designers, there's a million whatever, to saturated every field. Now, what does matter is work that matters. How are you helping move along the industry? Um, you know, now if you're not, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, take your photos, go out, shoot every day. But it's like, um, it was a real eye-opening video. It's like, okay, what type of photographer do you want to be?
Do you want to be? Yeah.
What do you want to get out of this profession? And how do you want to be remembered within the industry? Yeah, you can be and there's nothing wrong with being the guy who everyone calls for the family get-togethers. Nothing wrong with that.
That's you.
If your photos are published on Facebook every single season, and you call yourself a photographer, fine. I'll call you a photographer too. Shoot. Yeah, it's just a matter, when you're approaching a Ted Forbes, like, you think Ted Forbes wants to see the photo of your nephew splashing in the pool? I don't think so. Yeah, it was just it was eye opening. I was like, wow, it made me really think about what I really wanted to do in this industry. Was it just for fun, or do I want to do this for long haul?
That's what I think about all the time. I think that right there is what I think about. Like what do well, I thought about that before I started shooting. Actually, it's my why. So it's funny you say that, because like I'm gonna call myself an accidental photographer, because I didn't set out to be a photographer. Actually, in actuality, I set out. Okay, so when I started XL Tribe, I used to hide my face, actually. And so when I would do blogs, I would go looking for models like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess at the time, clearly you've been doing it for 8 years, but I had not heard of you at the time. And what I couldn't find were people that looked like me. So I had a subscription to one of those stock photography sites. Yeah. And I could not find big and tall models in there. And I remember Gary Vee saying, if you don't find it, go build it.
Love Gary Vee.
And from that, I was like, that's it. I'm going to buy a camera. I'm going to find big and tall people in the street. I'm going to tap them on the shoulder like, can I take a photo of you? That was what my plan was. And those people were going to serve as the photos in my blog post. That's why that's why I bought a camera. What I learned was that when I started doing that, I saw that face people would make when I would turn the camera around.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it baffled me. I was like, but you don't know you look like this? So when I tapped you on your shoulder, what did you, like, so in my mind, I started questioning, like, what is it I see these people don't see? Like, and I started going through this whole, like, 6-month dialogue about what I wanted to do, why I was seeing things people wasn't seeing. And it was what I realized, well, it's a long time to realize it, but eventually what I realized is that people don't generally get to see themselves in this way, especially men, especially bigger men, especially Black bigger men. Don't see themselves this way.
It's because we're the picture of a model is, when you say model, you automatically go to a tall, skinny white woman.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a model has been forced down our throat for generations.
Yep.
Not knowing that. Yeah, you never really think about, like, oh yeah, I can be a model too. Yeah, I'm 300 pounds, 6'5", wear size 14, 15 shoe, whatever. Yeah, you could be a model. Are there 300-pound, 14, 15 size wearing people, guys out there?
Yep.
They need to see someone wearing the clothes that you're wearing,
Yep. And that's
and
when it
there's
hit me.
it's representation.
And that's when it hit me right there. Well, I'm
You
not that
became
tall,
you became a photographer out of necessity.
but that's why I picked up. Actually, that's why I started, my site, and that's why I started photography, because I knew there were other people like me.
Mm-hmm.
There were other people like me out in the world, and so we needed to see ourselves being represented. That was first, and then number two, it was like the feeling I feel when I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror, or when, like, I someone asked me the other day, like, how do you get comfortable with your body? And I said the first step to me getting more comfortable with my body was buying a mirror. Up until 28, I never owned a mirror, so I never knew what I looked like. Buying a mirror was the first thing to learning how to love my body the way it is. And so when they asked me that, I said, buy a mirror, and your comfort level is going to grow every time you walk past the mirror and you see yourself. So I said, start doing it with, like, when you get dressed, like, see yourself undressed and then see yourself dressed. If you get comfortable with that man in the mirror, in both with clothes off, when you put the clothes on, he's gonna become unstoppable.
There you go.
And I thought to myself, I think I can do a pretty good job at teaching people this lesson I just learned, which was to love myself through buying a mirror. So I thought, all right, we're gonna pick up this camera, and now that we make people feel like this, we're going to actually shoot people. And funny enough, because I have a story. I always have a story. So behind me, there's a wall. I have a wall of all of so I created a picture wall in my office where I have all of my shoots, well, not all of them, but a lot of my shoots that I've done. And this shoot, this is my first paid shoot. And this guy told me, when I told him my price were, I charged like $50 for a 2-shoot look. And then when I sent him the invoice, I sent him with a discount. And he said, don't you ever do that again. And it was that moment that I realized I had something special, because someone was willing to pay me full price for what I was charging.
Yeah.
So pick up a camera and shoot. So
Yeah,
that's really great advice.
Yeah, you became a photographer out of necessity, and that's good.
Pure necessity.
That's a lane.
I just couldn't find pictures. So I won myself. So, like, now you've been, a model, for 8 years. You've been shooting for a year and a half. On the modeling side now, the other question that I get 50 million times a day: how do I become a model? I've done 2 videos about it. That's, I share with people all the time, because the question was happening so much. I created a video and I just send you now. Oh, I just gave myself an idea based on what we're talking about. I'm going to create a whole side note. Anyway, so I just my polyism is turning right now. So, forgot my question because the thought is just here.
I get the question all the time. How do I become a model? Yeah. And it's not even big and tall model. Sometimes it's just, how do I become a model? I tell them all the same. Find a photographer, shoot, get for guys. I say get a couple suit shots, get a couple athletic, get a couple casual, get whatever. Get shots. Find a good photographer you trust that you like their work. You see them. Then from there, post, and then from there, find an agency. I'm like, there's agency all over the place. Yeah, you gotta look out for some of the ones that are just trying to take money. Yeah, there's some of them out there, but there are, you can weed through and find the reputable ones. And I was like, just keep shooting, keep posting, keep applying to the agencies. From there, that's when you get jobs.
You know what?
It's discovery, and then with Instagram, it's so easy to get discovered nowadays.
But I'm gonna roll your idea all the way back, and I'm gonna skip a one to that, right? Because this is my first tip, and I get this one so often, and it's the first tip that I have. Open your Instagram. Continue.
Open your Instagram.
Yes.
What do you mean, like unlock it?
Oh, people, because what I find is that every time someone asks me how to become a model, when I go to your page, the first thing I notice, it's locked.
That's what I was saying. Post. You got to be discoverable. Models are discovered.
And I can't discover you if your page is locked.
You can't. I'm a photographer. And the way I find new models is I follow hashtags.
Oh, you go model scouting too?
Yeah, if I'm trying to find a model for like like a test or an idea or concept, and I'm not necessarily going through an agency, I'll go on Instagram and look through hashtags: Charlotte models, Winston models, Greensboro models, North Carolina models, portrait photography, and I'm seeing photos. I'm getting ideas as well from other photographers that other photographers make dope work, and then you can learn from that and model your stuff and improve your work on it. But that's a good way to get connected with models, especially locally. And then if you locked, you got 20 models, you got 20 photographers looking for a model, and you say you want a model, and they're on Instagram, and you ain't gonna pop up. You ain't getting that shot.
That's it, right?
Who knows? Who knows? We might be feeling generous and say, "No, it's gonna be a free shoot. I'm just trying to try some stuff out. I got a new light. I'm trying to try something." But next thing you know, you're trying to be a model. They come to you, like, "Well, go holler at E. He might shoot you." I'm gonna hit him with the rates. So it's always be discoverable. Always be.
And the thing is, I'm always looking for models. That's the thing. Like, I'm always scouting on the low, not on the high, but like on the low. I'm always scouting. Like, part of my business model, I like to call myself a heartpreneur. So I'm an entrepreneur. I do everything that's going to service the heart, from the heart to the heart. Like, that's kind of what I do. So every time I sell photography, I give one away. Like, that's part of my business structure. So I'm technically always looking for people because I'm always doing shoots. So I have 14 free shoots to give away, and I cannot find people to give them to. So it's like, I can't find them if you're paid folks.
Sure, I'll take one of them. I need some shoots.
Holla at your boy when you get to the A.
Coming.
Like that's part of my structure. So I like to ask working models, their tips, because it's one thing for me to tell you, but when they walk into DXL and they see you up there, they be like, oh, what he got to say is the deal. So
I at in CLT shooters, we'll have meetups all the time. And I started to notice that they also have a CLT models group connected to it, and they know when we meet up. So there was a period of time, like 2 or 3 meetups in a row, where not a lot of models were showing up. I mean, when I say not a lot of models, like 1, 2, or 3 were showing up. And I'm in both groups because I'm a model as well and a photographer. And I kind of lit a fire under. I was like, I know what it's like to be a model and want to get gigs. I'm not looking to shoot right now because I'm exclusive DXL, so I don't need new content. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, if you're not exclusive, or not getting shoots every other week with your agency or signed, you should be coming to these meetups because you got 20 to 30 photographers shooting for free, and you can come and get a whole bunch of shots. Bring 20 outfits if you want. That's 20. That's content for you. Yeah, you're gonna have
the content.
you got a spectrum of newbie to pro, but like they're gonna give you those photos for free. And I was like, you need to be getting shots. I know what it's like to be a model. Y'all need to be getting shots like at least twice a month. New content.
Listen,
like the ones that say they want to really do it. And then it started to pick up after that. I was like, you can't and then like we got these meetups, got all these photographers looking to shoot, and you need shots, but don't come to us after the meetup saying, hey, do you shoot for free?
Nope, because my time is for free was at this meetup.
I was shooting free yesterday. I was happy to shoot free yesterday. And
yesterday was free. Today's page.
Today is like, yeah, but I lit a fire in a little bit. Like, y'all want shots, we want to shoot. Like, come to the meetup. If you don't want to come to the meetup, fine, contact us. You're gonna pay for those. Contact
us, right? And I think people don't. I think one thing that took me a long time was the art of relationship building. And I think I'm trying to understand the dynamic of it so I can understand how to break it down. But I find that so many people, when they're new, the skill that they're missing is always relationship building. And I'm not sure if that's because does relationship building not come naturally to humans or what? I'm not sure. Because like the relationships I've built with people like are way stronger than money.
Yeah.
And to me, those relationships I value more than anything in the world because like for example, like say you come to Atlanta, right? And I shoot you, like me shooting you for free is gonna be more valuable than you paying me. Like that's how I look at it. Right? But they took me a long time to realize that like to do that skill. And I'm wondering, was that hard for you? Was that cool as well? Or is it like something you need to unlearn or relearn or learn for the first time? Or what is that?
It's no, it's something you definitely gotta learn. Who to do what for. I got a couple of friends that, anytime. Like, cause they come with, ideas, maybe like my model bro. But then there's other ones like, it's a tricky thing to maneuver, knowing who to shoot for free, what level of relationship you have with any and everyone, especially like through Instagram, we can kind of misconstrue the level of relationship we do have from a bunch of likes as opposed to actually having a relationship with that person. Cause just because you like every one of my photos don't mean I probably ain't even met you.
Got
But
you.
yeah, it's a skill to learn. I even heard that from. I watched so many YouTube videos from photographers. Um, Chelsea and Tony Northrup. They said you have to learn to do that too. Uh, Manny Ortiz, you're like, yeah, you gotta learn. You know, you gotta learn who to shoot for free. Basically, is what they say. Like
So
you
it's
gotta
an
learn
art
that.
to it.
It's hard. It's hard.
That's it. So it's a skill you have to learn because it's an art. Now
Um,
I
there's
know
a
how to teach
there's a
that.
real a really good photographer up here in Charlotte. Gavin Brown. Um, he
I know.
sells
Yeah.
shirts. He sells T-shirts. Says exposure don't pay my bills.
It says thankful. His brand is thankful.
No, that's someone else. That's what's the guy's name? I'm mixing up with someone else. But now I know the thankful guy. I met him too.
Okay. Oh, his name
Gavin
is
Brown.
Joe. Something Joe.
Joe, yeah. But light skinned Joe. I am light skinned Joe. That's his Instagram name.
That's it.
Gavin Brown is really good, but he sells shirts. Says exposure don't pay my bills.
It sure does not.
It's a business. Like I didn't. I actually
Well,
messaged
you
one
know
of
what's
my.
funny? You know what's interesting though? You
Yeah.
know the truth is, I get that saying, but I will say this. The people who tell you exposure, the people who say like, oh, you should do this, it'll be a good look, it'll be great exposure for you. The people who say that to you are the people who who are not in the position to offer you exposure.
Exactly.
Because, for example, like if Good Morning America called me today to do something for free, I'm going to do it because that is great exposure.
Yep. If I'm shoot, if let's say I don't know if Steph Curry hit me up tomorrow and say, hey man, we need someone to come through and and shoot this gala thing we having. Okay. All right.
That is great exposure.
Yes. Or I just need you to come out and shoot, me and my girl just on we're at the park, whatever, just like 30 minutes. Fine. Free. Got you. Steph Curry, that's some stuff you learn to I wouldn't say bite the bullet, but like some stuff is, it's a strategic move. Um, but like at the same time, they got to everyone also realizes Steph Curry would realize he got a business to run.
Yep.
He ain't just a guy out here with a camera. He's Eric Wallace photography.
Yeah.
So
Wallace
like,
photography needs to stay in business.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's a skill to learn. It's you gotta know when and who to, and especially a lot of times if I'm approaching someone for a shoot, it's usually no, this is me just coming to you to I got an idea and I see you in it. But like but if you're coming to me with, I get a lot of messages saying, do you shoot for exposure? Or do you shoot for, you know, um, you know, shoot for post or something like that? Like, no, I don't do that anymore.
We all have. I started there, so I know what that's like. But there comes a time when, the
mm-hmm.
this, the
and
phone.
you kind of know, and you kind of know when that comes about because you start to, your time becomes more valuable, and your skills become more valuable as well. So, yeah.
Well, I would say, as we begin to wrap this interview up, I do have one final question for you.
And what about an Instagram photo though?
Wait. You're right, Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to talk. So he already knows that there's one of his posts that really wanted to know where does it come from, and it's the one he posted in Big Lost Lake, I believe.
Big Lost Lake Ranch. Yeah.
And first of all, I clicked on it. When I see something that's more than 1,000 miles away, I'd be like, where the fuck is that? So I'm in Atlanta, so that's about 1,000 miles away from me. So I'm like, where is this? So what I want to know is where is Big Lost Lake, and how did that go? Because that looked like the middle of nowhere.
It was in the middle of nowhere, Idaho. And that was probably our favorite shoot of DXL. We've had some really cool shoots in some really cool places, but I will say when we
Y'all
got the
shot in
call,
Miami once before, right?
Miami a couple times, Los Angeles, we shot at the Stall House in Los Angeles. We shot in Arizona a couple times, New York, Boston, Maine. But yeah, we shot some really cool places. But Idaho, when we got the call sheet to go to Idaho, we were all looking like, Idaho? What are we doing in Idaho? Yeah, we got there, we shot, we had so much fun. That was probably, you could probably ask a whole bunch of models, say, yeah, that was a really fun shoot.
To be in Idaho. I mean,
And
it
actually
looks good.
actually that photo, I don't even think that was intentional. I think it was taken as I was joking around on set. I was walking through Q's shot.
Oh, because
Q was
that was supposed to
shooting,
be the landscape.
I think Q was shooting Bill maybe at the time.
Okay.
And I was shooting for I think I was shooting video. And John was getting video. And I just had to walk through the shot. And then Q was just like, yeah, way to walk through my shot.
And
I
look at
think
that.
I think that's how that shot came about.
Magic
But,
on
it was a really
accident.
cool shot. Yeah, I actually got that on my website as my about me shot.
Because it's an amazing shot.
Yeah, I like
And
it.
it happened on accident. Look at that. I love hearing backstories behind photos. I think part of me, I swear, see, this is part of being a polymath is. It's like I have this idea to do a behind the scenes photography podcast where
Yeah.
I Instagrammers on and we talk about the backstory of the photos. I swear.
That is a good idea.
So I'm gonna run with the idea. I'm thinking I wanted to make it like a segment, like a photography segment of this podcast. So it's like shorter, but it's something I could interview everyone, not necessarily it doesn't always have to be models or big and tall, guys or photographers or what have you. It's kind of a way for me to bring in more of my love of things. So I was thinking of doing. So do you know the Instagram called album receipts?
Nah.
Okay,
I'm looking up
really dope. It's where they take an album and they turn it into a receipt. It's really dope.
I'm gonna definitely look that up.
Definitely dope. So I was thinking about doing something like that with. So look.
Oh yeah.
Right? How dope is that?
That's creative. I like that.
Right. He actually did someone's album cover like that. They collaborated on an album cover.
Man, that's creativity all everywhere, man. Right?
So I'm like, this is dope. So I think I'm gonna take that idea and run with it. So
yeah, man.
Now it's my final question.
What you got, man?
I want to know people. I've been seeing this meme that says, whatever you said you were going to do 5 years ago with your life, clearly you ain't know Rona was going to be here, right? So it's like, I thought it was the best quote ever. So thinking about your life right now, in 5 years, what do you want people to be able to say Eric did that you're extremely proud of?
In 5 years,
yeah,
I will, like I said, I go back to the beginning where I said the camera brought together a whole bunch of ideas that I had, and it brought some direction. Um, in 5 years, I plan to have, it'll sound ambitious right now, but I'll plan to have my podcast up and running.
Mm-hmm.
The Polymathlete, where I speak to professional athletes, college athletes about their second and third endeavors or careers or interests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll also have my magazine going, whether print or online, Polymath magazine, where I highlight individuals doing more than multiple things. Um, and I'll also plan to have my own studio for housing Polymath productions, where I'll have Polymath Playground, um, Eric Wallace Photography, the Polymathlete podcast, Polymath magazine, and I still got my clothing line. I'll just be making cool shirts here and there. But yeah, 5 years from now, it should be the camera will be the catalyst to bring everything together. Now that I got direction, yeah, that's 5 years. I have my own space and pumping out educational, insightful content about individuals doing different things outside of the status quo or their stereotypes or for me I was supposed to be just an athlete. That's it.
That's it.
Just an athlete, pro athlete or just an athlete. But I've taken it to being more than that. Actor, model, photographer. So I like to hear stories about people, especially athletes, about what else they're doing. Yeah.
Take that idea, add it to the podcast, and run with it.
Well, I've been. That's. I'm running with it. Full sprint.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I don't think that's ambitious. I mean, I don't think that's not.
It's not ambitious. Not
Um,
ambitious, but when you hear everything all at once, you're like, oh, it is a lot. But like,
yeah,
I did read something the other day. I did read something the other day. It was like everything doesn't have to happen at once.
it does not.
It never does.
My favorite quote from Tyler Perry is, "You take a gallon of water and you water one plant with it. You let that one plant grow, bear the fruit. Then you take the seeds from the fruit and you plant the other tree."
Like other seeds, exactly.
And that is what I'm doing with XL Tribe. Because the reason I could never get it together is because I always wanted to do everything in my head at once.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've learned to take those ideas, put them in my memory bank, and save them.
Yep.
And now, that I'm making XL Tribe be a success, and XL Shoots is trailing behind that, and now the podcast is behind that. Then I'm thinking about what's next. Like, what's some of the other things I want to do. Like, I want to do short films next. So it's like that which I want to tell big and tall stories. So like, these are things I'm thinking about in my mind about like what I want to do. And it's like taking it one thing at a time, letting one thing grow, bear some fruit, i.e. money, so I can take it
Exactly.
to the other
Yep.
things.
Yeah, the other opportunities will easily present themselves. Easily.
Yep. And that's what I
Be
find.
like, yeah, it's perfect. Mm-hmm.
That's what I find. Well, I'm going to say this is an insightful interview. I love when I can learn new shit that really like takes me here. I think I did not know what a polymath was, so now I feel like I can add a new slash to my name.
Yep. Put it on the business card.
Tell the people where they can follow you, where they can find you, all that good stuff, so that people can pour into you and help you create all your dreams, hopefully within 4 years.
I'm at of course I'm on Instagram at Polymathic Wallace, POLYMATHIC Wallace. And my website is www.wallaceric.com. And you can find, my photography there and my modeling there, my acting there and everything. So yeah, Instagram and my website. I don't tweet much. I need to tweet, get back on Twitter, but yeah,
Twitter's
that's where
good.
you can find me.
Twitter.
I got locked out. On my account, and Twitter won't help. Right. I've been locked out of my verified Twitter account for like 3 months, and Twitter will not help.
That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Twitter, if you listening, Jack Dorsey, get this man into his Instagram.
They're listening.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the XL Tribesmen podcast. This was very insightful. I can't wait for the people to hear and see, and like this was. I feel pumped up. I love when I leave an interview feeling like I'm a new fan of you.
Man, I told you should do more, because I love to. I know Zach, Rob, the Andrews, the Miguel's. I know those guys. But I'd love to hear, some more about their stories, like how they feel on set. Outside of what we talk about on set, but like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love to hear.
This idea has been sparked, and now this is the first flame being lit. So,
Rob's interview gonna be lit. So,
yes. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to like do this. So, thanks for planting the seed in me that hopefully can bear the fruit, where this can turn into, another extension of the business. Video for me is like a new thing. So I like it, but it's stressful.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So, but I'm here, and I'm gonna get into it, and then I'm gonna figure out how my camera not to die next time. But thank you so much. And y'all go follow Mr. Polymath Wallace on Instagram. And until next time, peace out,